trials begin.
And Craig, how do you score points on our giant pinball table? This is how. 5 for each of those barrels down, 15 points for going up and over the seesaw, 50 points for hitting that target. Mind you, Bash is in there, look, so watch out. There's our new multi-ball option. That's a surprise. More on that later. Here we go, another 75-point target. Dead Metal, though, patrols. 25 points for opening this gate, going through. 50 points there, another target marshalled by Shunt. And the big Sphere of Doom, hit that into a pocket, you get 25 points and 5 points for each of those barrels. 10 robots will take on the pinball throughout the series. The first is Dominator from Cambridgeshire, 79 kilograms. Titanium tipped spikes there, the main weapons. Peter Halloway, Elliot Smart and Bruce Benson make up the team.
Robotiers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
I think they'll probably go for the barrels. First of all, they're easy points scored, you see. Now the seesaw option. Not great control. Needs a better run-up, really, to get up and over that seesaw. And I think the barrels are actually impeding the run-up to the seesaw. So Dominator decides not to take on the seesaw. It immediately runs into Bash. There, the paint-licking flame. And Killalot, who can patrol the whole of the pinball arena, is free to do so. And knocks into that barrel. Oh, look at that, it's released the multi-ball. Now that's 10 points for hitting the multi-ball. And for each of those balls which fly out and then go down into a pocket, it's an extra 5 points per ball. Magnificent stuff. And meanwhile, Dominator trying to edge towards that 50-point barrier in the top. But squeezed by Killalot and also by Dead Metal. And taking some punishment in there. And the balls can't be freed out. Damage has been caused, littering the pinball arena, but now taking on this target and getting points. 75 points there. The first contact was good for Dominator. Bounced off the target by Killalot. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Imagine having your rear end pinched by Killalot. Oh, there's a thought. Needs to get out of there, Dominator. To get quick points now. Trying to push through the car door gate to pick up 25 more points. It swings. Dominator trying to get to the 50 points. Couldn't get in there, and the house robots now exacting revenge. Dead Metal and also Shunt. Damage limitation exercise for the Dominator team after picking up good points. Not a bad run at all on the pinball. 160 points. That's a good score. They're the barrels early on. That's the crucial barrel. Release the multi-balls. Out they come. But in the end, the robots exacting revenge. Good score, I think. 160 points. And there it is, confirmed. Dominator, the first of our pinball entrants, 160 points.
Will anyone beat that score? We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, it's back to the wars.
From Woodbridge in Suffolk, Henry 2.
Back with their petrol-driven machine and its hydraulic ram. Some of the parts come from a 3-wheel car, which is to run at Ipswich Speedway track. Can that be right? Grandma's picture on the front for luck again. And let's see how Granny and Co got on last time against Stegosaurus. Roasted. Slammed. Brutally pinched too by Sergeant Bash. And then just for luck, sliced by Dead Metal.
These are my children, Melanie and Leon. This is the robot. This time in the wards we've got a lifting arm which will probably lift the car up. We've also got a secret weapon from last year, which is Mel.
My nan on the front. He used to be on the back last time, and she's going to get her revenge this war.
From Huntingdon, Dominator 2.
With 20-mile-an-hour speeds, this could dominate the arena, powered by 2 industrial motors, a plasma nitride-coated titanium shell for protection, and pneumatic axe. Today they plan to dominate robot wars. Last time around, they were first to go in the pinball, showed good control, steering, and looked menacing. But how flimsy was that outer shell when under pressure from the robots, the house robots, that is. And all that style of control meant nothing under attack like this. They'll have to be stronger this time around.
Hello, my name's Peter Halloway, and I'd like to introduce for this war Dominator 2, and here it's got a titanium-coated shell, 2 1-horsepower motors, a pneumatic axe with an acceleration linkage, which will bring this whole lot down at about 1.5 tons of pressure. Also with us, Paul Tolliday and Chris Hall. Hi.
From Kettering, seed number 9, 101.
Beaten in the semi-finals of the last wars, 101 returns with a special Roboteers EPS, Extra Perceptive Sensory System, which fires a spike weapon travelling at 200 miles an hour. In the last wars, the closest battle I think we've ever had against Hypnodisc. Bash for smash, crash for mash. The judges had to come in and decide, leaving the father and daughter team of 101 broken-hearted.
Hi, I'm Mike. This is Amy. This is 101, back to fight another war. Runs on stainless steel tracks either way up, 2 powerful motors at the back, and a very powerful weapon in the middle, which fires automatically when it comes into range with another robot.
Roboteers, stand by.
Dominator 2, the pneumatic axe controlled by Paul Tolliday, with the moustache there on the left-hand side, Chris Hall and Peter Holloway with him. 101 with the father and daughter team, Mike and Amy, Franklin. And Henry 2 with Tom Moy, a blacksmith, and his kids, 11-year-old Leon and 13-year-old Melanie.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Dominator on the left, making the first move. Oh, look at that, a slam immediately from the axe down on Henry 2, which is a petrol-driven robot, don't forget. And I think the drive motors are there or thereabouts. The axe has gone in, and I think that's destroyed Henry 2's chances straight away, look. Immobilised. What an attack from Dominator 2. That pneumatic axe crashing down. Now, 101 back on the attack. There goes the axe again. 101 has to stay out of trouble now. From the Dominator 2 team, they all work together. Peter Halloway, Chris Hall and Paul Tolliday. Poor old Henry 2 out of it immediately, I would suggest. Dominator 2 with a strange double V shape, trying to cause problems on 101 as well. Denting, but not penetrating. 101 comes back onto the attack with those tracks from the milk bottle washing machine. Can they deliver, I wonder? Killalot comes in with that fearsome hydraulic cutting claw, twice as powerful as the jaws of life used by rescue services to save trapped victims from wreckage. Immensely powerful. Poor old Henry 2. They've worked so hard on the improvements. Shunt a little push, that's why you can see the wheels moving. I'm sure nothing else. There's no life in that machine now. And meanwhile, Amy and Mike will survive with 101. In goes Henry 2 into the pits. The question is,
Stand by.
their machine, Shadow of Napalm, is it strong enough to withstand the axe of Dominator 2? There it is. Looks mighty powerful to me. At the controls, Paul Tolliday, controller of the weapon.
1. Activate.
We could be seeing another seed go out here. I fear the Shadow of Napalm from that axe. The pneumatic-powered axe driving in and already piercing the shell of Shadow of Napalm. It's a Kevlar shell, aluminium decking and titanium, but can it withstand this sort of punishing? Ooh, damage again. Claire Greenway and Victoria Allgood back again with Shadow of Napalm. Their teen life has been spent in Robot Wars, dreaming of destruction and so on, with their teacher David Crosby, teacher of design and technology. And there, the two just grappling together. Here comes the ref bot with the camera to have a closer look. Now Dominator 2 pushing forward, Shadow of Napalm holding its ground. Killalot there, good controls here by David Crosby, digging in because he knows he's certainly outpowered in terms of weaponry, but in goes the great pincer arm of Killalot. It's grasp, Shadow of Napalm, they've done very well to get away there. David Crosby, that's superb stuff to get out, but Dominator 2 senses victory. Can Shadow of Napalm pull this around now? The axe crashes down once, twice into the very belly of Shadow of Napalm. No, a shake of the head. He fears the worst here. He thinks they're dead. Down goes the pit. Killalot on the edge of the pit. Killalot going in there. Oh God. Can David Crosby, with the girls shouting loudly, steer them away from the pit? Dominator 2 comes in with a shove. Right on the edge of the pit here. Shadow of Napalm, the number 25 seeds. Their hopes teetering and tottering. They're digging in there. This is superb. Back to the wall stop. They're trying just to last the distance here in this semi-final. And finally Matilda gives them a shove, and yet they won't go down. A brave battling performance, and finally they're in the pit. And it all comes to naught. They did so hard to stay in there so long. Everyone was against them. Well done to you lot for staying in there.
From Huntingdon, Dominator 2. From Kettering, seed number 9, 101.
Seeds, who didn't sound too confident. Dominator 2, is that a problem with the controls? Chris Hall, who designed the power electronics, will have to sort them out for Dominator 2. There they are. Peter Halloway, the team captain at the controls. He drives the engine 101 with Dad Mike. Daughter Amy, she wants to be a surgeon when she's older.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Amy, if you want to get used to slice and dice as a surgeon, let's get used to slicing up Dominator 2 right now. Look at that great axe pick of an axe. Oh, on the top there at 101 already. Causing damage. Is it punctured 101's aircraft grade aluminium shell? I think it has, and I think it's holding on, and 101 dragging it around the arena floor. Now that's interesting. Mike Franklin may well be able to use that tactic again. Draw Dominator 2 on, get the axe caught on top of the shell, drag it towards a pit. 101 showing good aggression and taking Dominator 2 almost into a CPZ, the corner patrol zone, and Matilda can come out from there and fly at Dominator 2. This is the good heat final we thought it would be. And 101 certainly showing great tenacity and verve. Don't forget they survived the eliminator phase last time around and reached the semi-finals. Only his Hypnodisc stopped them, 101. Dominator 2 madly flailing away with that axe. Do not try this at home, children, with a toothpick on your brother's favourite model car. Wait until Christmas Day and do it then. 101 into the CPZ. Matilda there as well, pushing 101 out. Go on, Amy. Come up with some inspiration. You're going to need it. There, you see. Now, it didn't puncture the Shallow 101 on that occasion, but look at it. Look at the top. It pours salt out of that. Dragging 101 towards the arena. Oh, wall and into the pitches of dead metal. That's a great tactic by Dominator 2. Just squeezing out of the grasp of dead metal 101. Back in towards the house robot again. Can see the mighty pincers there. 101's tracks trundling away. On towards the arena floor flipper. Yeah, get away, that's right. Discretion the better part of valor. Run away, live to fight another day, 101. Turned over, that won't bother it. The track's trundle, but all the aggression so far from Dominator 2. Should it go to the judges? Star control, damage and aggression. Those are the things they're looking for. 101, a side attack now on Dominator 2, which means, of course, Dominator 2 can't get the axe into play. Now it can. 101 on the arena wall. Is it pinned there? It is pinned there. It's in trouble here, 101. Pinned to the arena wall. Getting away now. Dead Metal had come in for the kill, I think. Dominator 2 on the attack with the axe. And Shunt, what's Shunt doing out there now to take on 101? What do you... Shunt is on the attack. That is not on ref. Ref Bob, give Shunt a yellow card. Give him a red card and get him out of there. Poor old 101 should not have been the victim of an attack by Shunt. I'll have a word with Shunt. No, I won't. I'm terrified of Shunt. But it goes to the judges. What? How close is that, by the way? What a good battle!
Well. A very tight battle. We've got to go to our judges. Remember, this is for a place in the series semi-finals. The judges are looking at style, control, damage and aggression.
Here they are, our boffins. Professor Noel Sharkey in the middle, Martin Smith, Dr. Myra Wilson. While they deliberate, let's have a look at the key moments. You see, there's the axe of Dominator 2 straight into the play. And caught on the top of 101. 101 brave enough to come back onto the attack, but denied its own weapon. It hasn't worked throughout this heat. That could be key as the judges ponder. Dominator 2's axe bang once again. 101 pushed across the arena floor into the CPZ, which again will count in Dominator's 2's favour. 101 surviving, but it was a battle of survival for 101. And I think, in my mind, that edges it towards Dominator 2 just, but we'll see what the judges have to say. There they are, totting up the scores. Professor Noel Sharkey in the middle. Martin Smith there to his left. What's the decision?
Well, the decision is unanimous, and the winners are Dominator 2!
Roboteers, stand by.
There's the Dominator 2 team, a unique bi-wedge shape there at the controls. Peter Halloway. There's Firestorm 2. Alex Mordew on the right-hand side. Graham Bone, the taller of the two.
2, 1. Activate.
Classic wedge, Firestorm against the bi-wedge, which has the more obvious weapon. There it is. The axe coming down. And again, Firestorm 2, though, has the flipper. And over onto its side goes Dominator 2. Can they right themselves? Very impressively done. Very quickly done. You can see the new tyres on Dominator 2. And again, down comes the axe. Look at the blade. Oh, lifting, plucking at the powerful flipping arm of Firestorm 2. Fought in Series 2, fought in Series 3. They got knocked out by Chaos 2. The Durham boys, they were at Edinburgh University together. And up against Dominator 2. They now come back in on the attack. Trying to get in underneath Dominator. There they are, Graham and Alex, you saw from behind. Dominator 2 now on the attack, chasing them down across the arena floor. They get up to 20 miles an hour, Dominator 2. Peter Halloway, the project manager for the team, the driver, the T-boy also, he said so. Paul Tolliday is controlling the weapon. And the crowd make their intentions clear. They want the Firestorm boys into the pit, but they escaped. See a vent of steam rising from the arena floor there in the background, and Dominator 2 upended. Comes crashing down. That's where Firestorm 2 could have done, perhaps with an axe-type weapon, to get in on the vulnerable underbelly of Dominator 2. Only has the flipper. Scarred Firestorm badly as well, but always aggressive. Again, Dominator 2 flipped up. This first semi-final has been markedly close. Really has been highlighted by some very tense close battles, and this is another one, and I'm sure it'll go to the judges unless Dominator 2 can free themselves here from the arena floor, and the red bot comes in. Dominator 2 are there, mobilised. Firestorm 2 grinds, great. Cease. And Dominator 2 may have just got away at the end to take it to a judge's decision. Only just, though.
Well, did Firestorm burn brightly, or did Dominator dominate? It's up to our judges.
They've had their work cut out, haven't they? The quality of the semi-final so far, judged by the fact that they've had to make 3 decisions now. Dominator 2 using the axe. Yep, points gained there. But Firestorm 2 came back very strongly. And again, that's been a feature of this semi-final. Takes a little bit of punishment from Dominator 2 late on.
Chaps, the decision is through. It's the closest decision ever in the war. The judges have gone 2-1, and it's only by 1 point in favour of Dominator 2!
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Watch out for David Gribble, the driver of Pussycat. He's won over 40 trophies for Aikido. He's a mean machine in himself, and Pussycat on the attack. And driving, look at that, very, very simple tactics. Go for the new tyres, shred them, and Dominator 2 would be out. Certainly, Peter Halloway, Chris Hall and Paul Tolliday, the Dominator 2 team will be aware of that now. Can they do anything about it? What they can do is drive that bi-wedge in underneath Pussycat. Try and force the cat back onto the arena wall. But Pussycat holding the centre of the arena at the moment, and again trying to get the blade in play. Blade against axe. Variety of weapons throughout this series. Matilda, the sparks fly as the house robot comes in. And Pussycat is in Matilda's lair in the CPZ. Back comes Matilda with the tusks, and Dominator 2 on the attack, and Dominator 2 on top of the moment, perhaps, after the bright start by Pussycat. Can David, the student, now get that blade against the tyres? Well, it was a broadside attack, and whatever the shell, plasma nitride coated titanium, rust, doesn't matter. At the moment, it's withstanding any sort of pressure from Pussycat. Again, they try the tyres. It's an awfully tiring semi-final battle so far, and the shell very nearly lifted off Dominator 2. And that was significant, and you can hear the slamming. And that could be the telling assault that earns Pussycat a place in the series final. Can they finish Dominator 2 off? Will we again go to the judges? And suddenly they've sliced in there, look, to the back of Dominator 2 shell. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful series for Dominator 2. But I think it's come to an end right there. Pussycat, they think they've won it. Dominator 2 look pensive. Busy night for the judges. But Dominator 2 had started so strongly with the plasma nitride thingy, whatever. Pussycat survived the attack, came back, and surely that's the most decisive moment of that battle. Surely that is when Pussycat won a place in the series final.
Well, the judges have made the decision, and based on damage and aggression, the cat still got the cream. They've gone for Pussycat!
From Lincoln, seed number 30, Stinger.
They had steering problems in Series 3, went straight into a pit after 50 seconds. This is a spinning, whirling dervish with a venomous axe, customised motorbike wheels, a top speed of 18 miles an hour, and it's seeded 30. Very quick across the arena floor, but when the wheels stop, the axe comes down with mighty power. Virtually indestructible, difficult to get hold of. Difficult to steer, yes, but when it spins, look at the power of that axe once again. Watch out for Stinger. This one's going to go very close in the Annihilator.
This is Carl Skinner, and I'm Kevin Scott from the Stinger team. We've got a really strong robot here, but we're up against 6 of the toughest robots in the series. We're going to go in there, we're going to give them hell, and we're going to kill them.
From Huntingdon, Dominator 2.
The motto of this team is ram it, hit it, push it. 2 industrial motors generating up to 20 miles an hour. A pneumatic axe is the weapon, a plasma nitride-coated titanium shell. Now you know. A unique bi-wedge shape, speed across the arena floor, good control as well, manoeuvrability, and then you've got that pneumatic axe slamming down. Certainly too strong for shadow of napalm there. Dominator 2, a zero turning circle, can spin the rest into oblivion.
Hi, welcome to the Dominator team. I'm Pete, the captain. Got Paul, weapons man, Chris, the auxiliary man. Paul's now going to tell you a bit about the robot.
Right, this is Dominator 2. Plasma nitride coated titanium shell, 1.8mm thick, nothing goes through it. 150 psi, pneumatic axe, axes its way through all 5 competitors in this Annihilator round.
From Oxford, seeded number 16, Kilohertz.
The hardened steel blade and pneumatic axe have proved too much for too many in the past. 2 motors, wheels from go-karts. Can the killer hurt once again?
We're just about to go into a big fight, 5 robots. I come from a family of 5, so I think I'm used to fighting for every bit of food on the table. I think we'll survive.
Looking forward to using our new improved axe. Poke a few holes in people. Should be fun.
From Derby, seeded number 31, Suicidal Tendencies.
Seeded because the Tendencies has a dangerous toothpick axe and front fork lifter. The shell is bulletproof, it runs on tracks of aluminium. Is it on track for success here, though? Heavy, powerful, tenacious. 2 1400-watt motors. Those tracks give it drive and punishing penetration, as Maverick and Wheelosaurus found out.
Hi, I'm Charles Binns, this is Andrew Jeffrey, and this is Suicidal Tendencies. We're going into a battle with 6 robots soon. We've got a big axe, going to take some chunks out of people, some big lifters at the front, titanium, track, very powerful. Somebody's going to get hurt in there, and hopefully it's not going to be us, and we're going to win and we're going to survive.
From Manchester, Spikosaurus.
A spiky character indeed, with its two 12-inch prongs of high tensile steel and an interchangeable ramming bar, can pull a car, can race 17 miles an hour, but can it take punishment?
Hi, we're Team Spikosaurus. I'm Stuart, my brother Andrew, friend Andrea. This is the most awesome robot in Annihilator today. We've got roll bars, so if we do get tipped up, we can roll straight back over. We've got two awesome spikes on the front. They will just pierce through any armour and damage all sorts of weaponry inside. And we're just going to kick some robot butt.
From Ipswich, seed number 1 and reigning champion, Chaos 2.
Finalists in Series 1, overall winner of Series 3. The gas-powered flipper is one of the strongest weapons we've ever seen. Top seeds for the main competition here, it'll create Chaos 2. And at the controls of Chaos 2, George Francis, a self-employed electronics engineer and a Robot Wars legend. Crocodilotron, Sonic, Big Cheese, Trident, Mace, Firestorm, Hypnodisc. It didn't matter who was against it in the last series. Have a look at this for power against the Firestorm. Over, and out you go. That's Chaos 2. That's the power. Not even Hypnodisc could stop it.
Hi, we're Chaos 2 team. Hoping to flip our way through the Annihilator round. I'm George, this is Ian, and his son Richard.
Main features of our robot are very good traction and an extremely powerful flipper. That's why we're the #1 seed.
Roboteers, stand by.
Plenty of opposition, though, from Suicidal Tendencies and Spikosaurus there. And Stinger, of course. All three teams together in the one cabin. Suicidal Tendencies on the left. There's Big Stuart Pearson of Spikosaurus and Carl Skinner of Stinger. Dominator 2, the Cambridgeshire team. They all work together. And Kilohertz, the reigning domestic champions, Chaos 2. There's George Francis on the right-hand side. Kilohertz in the middle. Dominator 2 on the left.
3, 2, 1.
This is going to be chaos. Good luck, everyone. There's Chaos 2 immediately on the attack. Dominator 2 in there as well with a big action. Dominator 2 flicked up on its side by Suicidal Tendencies. Suicidal Tendencies nearly went over at the same time. Let's have a look at it again. Chaos 2 in the midst of it all. Up went Dominator 2 and over. Suicidal Tendencies very nearly flicked up, but don't forget, it can work both sides up the track. Suicidal Tendencies, there's Kilohertz with its axe as well. You can see Bash retreating into its CPZ, and why not? Stinger with the axe in there as well. Chaos 2 with the CO2-powered battering ram. Dominator 2's okay. Whoa, there's the reigning champions, Chaos 2, slamming in on Suicidal Tendencies. Kilohertz is in there as well. Here comes Dominator 2, bottom of your picture. Now it seems to me that Spikosaurus is in a little bit of trouble, but okay now. Goodness me, look at that. There's Spikosaurus in there. You've got Chaos 2 as well. Dominator 2, the bottom of your picture. Stinger doing its own thing as it's wont to do. That's Spikosaurus in major trouble. Seems to me that Kilohertz is holding on. Tendencies comes in. Stinger now under threat from Chaos 2. Turning away. And Spikosaurus has been impaled by the axe. Kilohertz 2! Flicked over by Dominator 2. Axe to axe. Metal to metal. Bash and crash. Smash. What is happening out there? The hopes and dreams about to be scuttled have won in the Annihilator. It's Kilohertz up on its side and bounce. And just about came down okay, using its axe to right itself. Almost Kilohertz. Then in goes Spikosaurus. Kilohertz. Okay now. Stinger in with a slam on Chaos 2. Chaos 2 in underneath Kilohertz again. They think Kilohertz is the vulnerable machine. Chaos 2 against the arena wall and is impaled, is it? Can George Francis get that flipper off? Well, Dominator 2, a little nudge helped out. The object, boys, is to destroy each other. I wonder if Dominator 2 will rue that little bit of friendship. Look at the crashing of the axes. The flipper there. You've got Suicidal Tendencies trundling. Once again, Kilohertz trying to right itself into the CPZ, flicked in there by Chaos 2. And so far for me, Kilohertz has been the most punished robot. It's into the CPZ, it's stuck in there. And Kilohertz trying to flick, trying to turn itself over with that pneumatically powered axe. But Kilohertz in major trouble. Chaos 2 comes in with a slam. And bam! And Kilohertz 2, I think, is going to be first to go in the Annihilator. Each this round. One crashes out, piggyback up on Chaos 2. Was it immobilised for 30 seconds or more? If it goes to the judges, the rest of them just staying out of trouble. Bash comes in for a look. There's Dominator 2 with the pickaxe. This Stinger... Stinger loves a little bit of a rumble and a tussle. Sometimes I don't know what the Stinger boys are doing. I don't think they know what they're doing either. Dominator 2 out there, Chaos 2 as well. Kilohertz, well, back in the thick of the action. And we still have all 6 competing. Chaos 2 takes punishment right through the front flipper there from Dominator 2. The wheels of the Dominator spin, but Chaos 2 is in all sorts of problems now. Top of the picture, Spikosaurus. And Suicidal Tendency, in comes Dominator again. And suddenly it's the Chaos top seeds, the reigning UK champions, who are up against it. Now we've got to push and shove. At top of the picture, they've Dominator 2 and Spikosaurus. Kilohertz, I thought they were out, but they're back in really in the thick of things. So are Chaos 2 now. You've got the house robots into play in that CPZ. Look at this, a real tug of war here, and still they battle on bravely. Not one machine will give up, but Chaos 2 has taken unprecedented damage from the axe of Kilohertz. Look at this again, it's Dominator 2 inflicting punishment 1 and 2, and the Perspex comes off the bat there of Chaos 2, which means now, of course, the machinery, the very heart of Chaos, is vulnerable to attack. Dominator 2 lifts that Perspex lid up like some grisly scalp trophy. Chaos 2, they're all after the reigning UK champions, it seems. They're ganging up. Get rid of the strongest machine, get rid of the favourite. We'll gang up and we'll see who goes through. Dominator 2 in space, about to come in for an attack, but Chaos 2. George Francis, I don't think he knows what's hit him. You've now got Shunt in there to create more damage. Stinger, the axe comes battering down on Shunt, but it's Chaos 2. All of a sudden, the likely machine to go out of the first stage of the Great Annihilator, the northern section. In goes Spikosaurus to try and push Suicidal Tendencies out of the melee, out of the mayhem. Chaos 2 is their movement, is their life. Goodness me, I don't think there was. He doesn't either. Well, massively important axes and stream-X self-righting mechanisms in this to create damage and also to right yourself like Kilohertz there. For one moment I thought Kilohertz were going out, but no, they survived. Now, key issue here for me, Chaos did not have enough freedom of the arena to build up an attack, to build up speed, to get the flipper into play, and then it took unprecedented damage. Look at that. Absolutely punctured and peppered and destroyed Chaos 2. A huge surprise.
Roboteers, stand by.
The famous 5 for our overhead camera, Suicidal Tendencies and Spikosaurus. And then, of course, that mad thing, Stinger. The team again in the same cubbyhole. There's Carl Skinner on the right-hand side, Stuart Pearson. And then Andrew Jeffrey and Charles Binns with Suicidal Tendencies. There's Dominator 2. Looked good, didn't it? And Kilohertz, slightly vulnerable, but the axe came into play. A little bit more room in their cubbyhole. Dominator 2 on the right. And John Reed at the controls of Kilohertz.
2, 1, activate.
I wonder if 9-year-old Richard Swan from Chaos 2 has passed on his lucky stone to someone else. Stinger, perhaps. Immediately punished and a little bit lucky to survive, some might say. The drive from Kilohertz into the CPZ. Stinger now arriving on the scene in the middle of the melee. You've got Spikosaurus to the left-hand side. Dominator 2 again. This time clutching hold of Stinger almost on the axle. Spikosaurus trying to get those 2 front ramming, prodding spikes underneath the opponents. Then there were 5. This is Kilohertz under pressure from Dominator 2 with the bi-wedge shape. Impressive so far. The axe comes down on Kilohertz and on the arena floor. There you've got Spikosaurus, game so far, attacking Kilohertz up by the CPZ, and the others have sent here. The Kilohertz can again be in trouble. Look at the axe, it's smacked straight down through the split in the, well, see-through shell of Kilohertz, and you can see all in there now, in grisly detail. Kilohertz freeing itself with its own axe. Not the first time we've seen that in the Annihilator. It's dogged and determined, to say the least. Spikosaurus is game, isn't it? unwise to take on the Sergeant in the big game, though. Stinger's axe comes down. They've stayed out of trouble. In fact, we haven't seen a great deal of them. I wonder, you know, if that initial onslaught affected Stinger. We're going to check on the manoeuvrability of it in a minute. Meanwhile, the Sergeant comes in and attacks. Poor old Kilohertz. Everyone's been after them. Yes, Kilohertz pins its axe onto the flamethrower of the Sergeant. Look at that, he's been dragged around the arena floor on the shell of the Sergeant. It is actually Dominator 2 gives a little shunt and a bash. But Stinger, do you see there? I think Stinger going around in circles. I wonder if they've lost traction, manoeuvrability in one of those customised motorbike wheels. The flame scorches Kilohertz shell. Matilda comes in for a little bit of the action. But to me, you can just see the axe, but a little more of Stinger. In comes Dominator 2, Suicidal Tendencies in there as well, with the tracks moving away, so they're all right. We know Dominator 2's okay, because we can see the axe. We know Kilohertz hanging on for grim death with the Sergeant, and flammable, it would seem, surviving the flame torch pit. Now, Matilda just gives Kilohertz a little bit of a nudge up and over. Kilohertz will have to use the big axe to right itself. Now, go on! John Reed, great design this, great driving up and over, and that could be crucial. Kilohertz could just have survived right at the end. Well, let's have a look at this, because this is the whole crucial aspect of this section. I think that initial onslaught put Stinger out. There you see at the top of the picture, Stinger not going anywhere. Kilohertz took all the punishment. You see Stinger, it's not going anywhere, just round and round in circles. Stinger, for me, immobilised. We'll have to check on the official results. Suicidal Tendencies in play. This was great, wasn't it? And there you have it, confirmed. Stinger, yes, they were immobilised. Yes, they're out. And then there were four: Spikosaurus, Kilohertz, Dominator 2, and Suicidal Tendencies.
Puppeteers, stand by.
The formidable four: Suicidal Tendencies and Kilohertz. They're at the controls. John Reed on the right of Kilohertz, and Charles Binns, Andrew Jeffrey of Suicidal Tendencies, Dominator 2. Very good so far. And Spikosaurus. Big Stuart Pearson there at the right at the controls. We've got Peter Halloway, Chris Hall, Paul Tolliday, the Dominator team.
2, 1.
And after this one, I wonder whose trade secrets Jules will tell the nation. You've got Spikosaurus immediately on the attack. Dominator 2 backing away. More room now on that arena floor. Now, I wonder if the tactics will change. Still, axe to axe, but Suicidal Tendencies, you know, has ground its way through the couple of battles we've had so far. And it's still in there with Spikosaurus. The two low-gravity machines against the two axed machines. Oh, look at that, Kilohertz. Let the axe slip straight into the bi-wedge shape of Dominator 2. Now you've got Suicidal Tendencies back onto the arena wall. In comes Spikosaurus again, dodging around the two more dangerous, certainly higher-rated machines with the axes. Oh, a slam there from Dominator 2. Again going for that vulnerable slot. Now you've got Dominator 2 taking on Suicidal Tendencies. Go on, run away. We'll live to fight another day. And Spikosaurus, look at this, coming in again on a ramming run. I thought this would happen once the gaps of the arena started to emerge. Can get up to 17 mile an hour, Spikosaurus, and you've got 80 kilos there of weight behind each attack. And Spikosaurus could yet spring a surprise here in the Annihilator. To the right-hand side now, Cages, who watches Dominator 2 go on the attack, and then comes in for a side slam on the plasma nitride-coated titanium shield of Dominator 2. And once again, it's Spikosaurus doing the work until the great power axe of Dominator 2 comes down again on Kilohertz. How long can Kilohertz and John Reed survive this punishment? Throughout the three battles we've seen, it's all about take on Kilohertz. And is there one of the throngs buckled of Suicidal Tendencies? Are they immobilised? Kilohertz, are they immobilised? Will the judges be called into play? There's the ref bot coming to have a quick look. But to me, Suicidal Tendencies are going nowhere. And it's a question here of damage limitation. And Dominator 2 thrust up on the point of the triangle, comes bashing down. It was Matilda, the final shove with the tusks there. You can see the soft, vulnerable underbelly of Dominator 2. And it came a rocking and a reeling. And plop, now using the axe to right itself. Very, very important in Annihilator, but for me, Suicidal Tendencies, they're out. Let's all have a go at Kilohertz, shall we? Again. That Suicidal Tendencies being slammed by Spikosaurus. Was it there or there? The Suicidal Tendencies ended. No, they were still alive at that point. Kilohertz under more pressure from Dominator 2 and Spikosaurus. They've been valiant so far. And then the very end, of course, Dominator 2 riding itself. Suicidal Tendencies, they're out.
Roboteers, stand by.
Killalot awaits the terrible trio Spikosaurus and Dominator 2. Stuart Pearson on the left there, the Dominator 2 team. Paul Tolliday controls the weapon, and of course Kilohertz from Oxford. And there's John Reed. Ooh, the dancing going on there perhaps. So who will survive? The Axes again will be favourites. And will they try and knock each other out? Dominator 2 doing what it has done for most of the Annihilator coming in. And look at that, immediately gas being vented from Kilohertz. It means the pneumatically powered axe will not work, I shouldn't think now. And Kilohertz finally will succumb, surely. You've got Spikosaurus dodging away, Dominator 2 across the flame pit, not bothered by it. Poor old Kilohertz. Throughout this great heave-ho upheaval of a contest, everyone seems to have had it in for poor old Kilohertz. Dominator 2 with the axe, Spikosaurus with the front prongs, a little bit of toing and throwing, but it knows Kilohertz. Time is nigh, and so is Killalot with the greatest strength of them all to push out of the CPZ. There you've got Stuart Pearson at the controls of Spikosaurus. More gas being vented from Kilohertz. Spikosaurus in there at the rear. Killalot just having a little tickle on Spikosaurus and Matilda 2, just to come out with a little thrust. Spikosaurus needs to stay out of danger because look at this, the claw of Killalot. I wonder if Spikosaurus can free itself from Kilohertz, or whether the spike has embedded itself so deeply into the back of Kilohertz they can't get away. Well, Killalot could have a remedy for that. I'll cut your spike off. That claw can cut through virtually anything. And now it has Kilohertz in its grasp. Killalot dragging the claw over the top of Kilohertz. It's actually free Kilohertz there, but they've slammed into the arena wall. And now surely they are immobilised and out Kilohertz. A rotten way to end. Really the victim of arena bullying in Robot Wars. Let's have a look at this again, right from the start, Dominator 2. Let's make no pretense about this, trying to kill off Kilohertz. And that was when the gas was vented, no power then in the weapon of Kilohertz. Back against the walls, trying to hang on in there grimly. Down came the weapon of Dominator 2, look at the punishment. Sustained. That was when Spikosaurus got impaled. Killalot came in, freed the two of them, but no way back for Kilohertz from then on it. Slamming against the arena wall. Hurt or be hurt? That's your answer.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
The dastardly duo come head-to-head in the Annihilator final. Dominator 2 side on there with Spikosaurus. Now that's very, very interesting tactics by Dominator 2 immediately, because they know they cannot allow Spikosaurus to have a clean run against their flanks. They turn, they come on the attack. There's the axe coming down, clutching on to the ribs of Spikosaurus, and then they get in a telling blow. Meanwhile, Dead Metal claws Dominator 2 away and across the arena floor. The ref bot looking on. Oh, and it's punctured the back there of Dominator 2, who come on the attack of Spikosaurus immediately. drenched it across the arena floor in towards the house robots, but in doing so, then Dominator 2 was vulnerable from dead metal. They may be spinning, they may be grinning, but who has sustained punishment there? Who is in trouble? Dominator 2 just waiting to see if Spikosaurus can come out to play. Come out, wherever you are. Down comes the axe onto the top there of Spikosaurus. Spikosaurus, of course, the lower robot, lower centre of gravity. They're around about the same width, around about the same length, to be honest. Spikosaurus, the slower, but not by much. The heavier, but not by much. And certainly it seems to be the weaponry of Dominator 2 is the more effective. Will they win the Northern Annihilator? 6 bots went to Mo. 5 spikes, 4 axes, 3 controllers, 2 are left. Who will survive? In goes Dominator 2 with the pickaxe once and twice, trying to fracture that shell. Look at this. Again, bam! So it's Dominator 2, the more adventurous at the moment. Oh, and shunned very nearly. Black Spikosaurus up and away. Will that be a lesson to the acts of Dominator 2? Peter Halloway, Chris Hall and Paul Tolliday, a graphic artist by trade. Now what can he draw for the remaining seconds of this Annihilator final? He draws on strength, that's for one. There's the axe. That certainly is the most potent force in this Annihilator final. But Spikosaurus away. What's happened here to Dominator 2? They're on the arena flipper. Has it lost control? Has it lost momentum? That was the puncture earlier on in the final. Have they been immobilised here, Dominator 2? It would be a major surprise. There's grease on one of the wheels. Has something been fractured in there? But it looks to me as if Dominator 2 have finished and Spikosaurus the most unlikely winner of this Annihilator. Look at this, the house robots come in, this dead metal with a great circular blade. Dominator 2, I thought they had this absolutely sewn up. Killalot in there as well. Dead metals, pincers, and Dominator 2, the trio there. No, they're out of it. There's the great jaws of life killers of Killalot. Dead metal as well. The axe comes down of Shunt. What an end for Dominator 2. They seem well on top, and look at this. It may be grease, but grease lightning it ain't, because Killalot has plucked up the pickaxe of Dominator 2. The old death waltz we love to hear and see on Robot Wars. You came to annihilate Dominator 2 in the ultimate and final reckoning. You are annihilated, and the flipper will confirm it, surely. A couple of bounces, a couple of springs from the spring-loaded trapdoor, and Dominator 2 slams against the arena floor. Oh dear. The klaxon sounds, the death knell for Dominator 2. It is just to be fumbled and toyed with by the house robots now. Pit, 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 they cry. The Spikosaurus team look on in victory. Unlikely. I must admit, it's taken me totally by surprise. I thought this would win it, Dominator 2. But not when you've got Killalot, and not when you've got Shunt, and not when you've got some problem with the mechanics. Dominator 2, you are through. Boo-hoo, no. Congratulations to Spikosaurus. Tenacious, competitive, dogged, and the champions.
From Ash in Hampshire, Wild Thing.
Going extreme with a new giant cutting disc spinning at 6,000 RPM. Also has a SRE mech and is the heavier of the two with a 100 kilo wedge shape, but I don't like the look of the tyres.
Hi, I'm Nick Adams and this is my son Jake. And this is our robot Wild Thing. It's really wild this year with a fantastic spinning disc, and it's going to take out all the opposition, no problem.
From Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire, Dominator 2.
A unique 5 bi-wedge shape, 12 kilo slam from the pneumatic axe. It has a plasma nitride coated titanium shell, which means it's very tough, apparently.
Hi, we're Team Dominator. We've got Elliot Smart, Chris Hall, myself, Pete Halloway, and not forgetting the star of the show, Dominator.
Roboteers, stand by.
Peter Halloway at the controls of Dominator 2 and Nick Adams, of course, with the Wild Thing family. Dead Metal, one of our 2 house robots with a 3,000 RPM saw. And alongside, compatriot Sir Killalot, the petrol-driven engine driving on the crushing floors.
3.
This for a place in the All-Stars quarter-final lineup. Dominator 2, with the power of that axe coming whacking down. And for the first time, really, Wild Thing have got that new spinning disc to work. You can just see the jut blades there onto the plasma nitride-coated titanium shell. There are the controls of Dominator 2, Peter Halloway, a development engineer by trade. He's developed a fine engine out there with the bi-shape. And as long as it goes side by side with Wild Thing, it'll dodge that flywheel mechanism. Also, Wild Thing has the side spikes. You can just see them there, which can help if it needs self-righting. Dominator 2 slowly turning. I think what they're trying to do here is get a side-on attack as well there to get the axe down on the wheels. The wheels of Wild Thing are vulnerable. I thought they might be. But meanwhile, Wild Thing back on the attack. Oh, and there seems to have been some damage there on one of the wheels of Dominator 2. It's the right wheel now. It looks to be tattered. So that weaponry of Wild Thing has caused damage to Dominator 2. Who will be left standing at the end of this one? Suddenly, Dominator 2 is on the defensive and Wild Thing is doing all the work. Coming in again, look, to attack that wheel and the other wheel too. Wild Thing's giant cutting disc, 12 kilos of weight, 2 blades, 6,000 RPM, spinning dangerously, spinning madly, spinning with venom. But Dominator 2, progressive now, getting it underneath Wild Thing, a bit of reverse gear, then turns away, onto the arena sidewall, down comes the axe. Peter is driving machine, Chris Hall is the robot weapons operator, an electric engineer by trade. Nick Adams, of course, is at the control of Wild Thing. He loves his electric guitar. At the moment, he's strumming a mean tune with the Wild Thing. It's going now, though. Way across the arena. Both robots have sustained damage, that's for sure, but both are still in there. Tigerish at the end. One robot to go through in the quarterfinals, even if the judges will have to decide. The crowd won't like a decision one way or the other. A bit of smoke coming out there. We're into the last 10 seconds. Which robot has sustained the most damage? Which has been the more aggressive? Because I feel sure, and indeed it will now, go to a judge's decision between Wild Thing and Dominator 2. And our 3 judges marking on style, control, damage, aggression. Let's see if we can find some pointers. Dominator 2, the more aggressive, but now look, missing its target with the axe. Wild Thing, meanwhile, was steadily, side by side, grinding away damage and mounting up the points. I don't know, because Dominator 2 was on the aggressive again, and bang, Wild Thing against the arena sidewall. Look at that, that was a wasted attack. And another, that'll count against it. Poor control, poor style. I think they've made their decision. They have. It's agreed. It's Wild Thing!
From Huntingdon, Dominator 2.
A Series 4 semi-finalist, now improved with a unique bi-wedge shape and 12 kilos of slam from the pneumatic axe. It has a plasma nitride-coated titanium shell.
From Stanground, the Executioner.
The 22-ton front-mounted hydraulic cutting blade is designed to split and crush. It's powered by American motors. It can run upside down. It doesn't need a SREMEC. And once again, we've thrown in 2 house robots. Matilda with the Tuscan. Watch for that flywheel. It's devastating at the rear. Fighting with Matilda for us, Shunt with the Diamond Edge axe, the scoop, and the electric motor.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So we have green light for go from the ref bot and immediately Dominator 2 after the executioner who tries to press that pit release button once and twice and misses. Not great control then, and 3 times. I think they've done it just about at the end. Press the pit release button. Yes, there it goes. So what's the executioner going to do with it? Oh my goodness me! They do themselves straight into the pit! Well, it took them long enough to activate the pit release, and as soon as they did it, they went straight down. Mark Nenadic, Ian Sanford and young David, well, they were big with a bravado, but out there, little control.
From Huntingdon, Dominator 2.
Improved from the appearance in the semi-finals of the last wars. 24-volt electric motors power 20-mile-an-hour top speeds. The 12-kilo force of the pneumatic axe could mean this dominates the heat.
From Asramore Industrial Estate, Derek.
Flashy with the lifting arm and rear-mounted spinning disc made from aluminium, steel polypropane and stainless steel. Two 750-watt industrial motors generate 13-mile-an-hour top speeds. Lack of experience, though.
Roboteers, stand by.
Dominator 2, a worthy machine. Peter Halloway, Chris Hall and Elliot Smart and Derek. Ian Rotherham is the robot driver. Andrew Groves and Frank Rotherham in there with him. Sergeant Bash is also in the arena for the house robots with a flamethrower. And Shunt with the axe, the scoop and the formidable pushing power.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Dominator 2 will start as the favourite for this battle because of the experience and the might of that pneumatic axe. Slamming down then on the stainless steel and aluminium frame in the main of Derek, quaintly named. Trying there to get its own weapon, the front lifting arm into action. In comes Sergeant Bash. Dominator 2 with a crash. Derek digging into the arena floor. Well, we don't take kindly to that, Derek. With your little fangs. Shutting up our lovely carpet, as it were. Dominator 2, you are now on a mission for us then, to tidy things up. But not like that, you won't. Slamming into the arena wall, poor control. Peter Halloway, 35-year-old development engineer at the controls of Dominator 2. Derek now slammed onto the arena side wall. Shunt is in there as well. Dominator 2 with the axe crashing down. Derek needs to get out of there. Can't get out, it's pinned in on the side wall. Dominator 2 doing all the work, all the pressing, all the aggressive work, and Shunt just barring a way out for Derek. Which way can they go? Caught between a rock and a hard place, and I think they've been immobilised in there now, Derek. There's no way out for them. Dominator 2 will win this one. Derek immobilised, the ref bot in there and counting them down. Good start by Derek, but what do we say? Lack of experience would count. They got themselves caught against the arena side wall, and Ian Rotherham couldn't get them away from there. Derek, you're out. Disappointing. After the bright start, in comes Shunt, in comes Sergeant Bash. Through go Dominator 2.
Oh, Derek, just stop working. Dominator 2 go through.
Roboteers, stand by.
Ooh, the blinking eyes of Sir Killalot. He means to menace Dominator 2, perhaps. There's the team, Paul, Peter and Chris. And King Bee Powerworks with Simon Harrison and Grant Hornsby in the control pod. There's their machine. Fighting for the house robots, we've seen Sir Killalot, who looks mean and moody. Magnificent, somehow. And Shunt, feisty, aggressive.
3, 2, 1.
Very good battle this. Dominator 2 possibly more impressive in its earlier fight. King B Powerworks needed a judge's decision to separate it from Chronic. And it's Dominator 2's axe dominating the proceedings early on, and King B Powerworks chased into the CPZ there by Shunt, but very quick to turn and get away at 16-mile-an-hour top speed. Manoeuvrable around that arena. Dominator 2, when it gets a run, can actually get up to 20 mph. Down comes the axe once again with a force of 12 kilos, trying to penetrate that sort of plexiglass armament on top of King B Powerworks, but not managing to do so. You can see there the saw, the circular blade at the front of King B, the forks at the back as well. How can it damage Dominator 2 though? It's a major problem. Side by side, no place to duck or hide. King B Powerworks turns to have a forward thrust, but it's Dominator 2's axe that comes down, and now they have pierced the armament of King B right there in the seal between the plexiglass on top and also the weaponry, the forklift thrusters. They're away, they've got another chance to fight again, but it's Dominator 2 doing all the work here. Semi-finalists beaten by Pussycat in the fourth wars, and again they're dragging King B Powerworks towards them. You can see the wheels spinning there of King B trying to get away. It'll go to the judges. For me, Dominator 2 on top.
Way! Fantastic round 2 battle. Dominator looked like it dominated that, but both robots are still fully mobile in the arena. We're going to have to wait for a judge's decision on that. While they're making up their minds, let's review the highlights.
Well, Craig, Dominator 2 had the axe, and I think that was the decisive difference between the two machines. Slamming, banging, finally piercing, and that, for me, was the telling moment in the battle. King B Powerworks nagged away, but Dominator 2 was the more aggressive and caused the more punishment.
Well, there's not really any tension here. The judges have not surprised us, really. They've gone for Dominator 2!
Roboteers, stand by.
In the arena for the House Robots, Sir Killalot, our master of mechanical mayhem, and Shunt alongside him to scoop and axe opponents.
3, 2, 1, activate.
And a busy night for the judges so far. Will the heat final be that close, or will Dominator 2, the favourite for this battle, use that mighty axe to win it and go through to the Robot Wars Series semi-final? Corkscrew against the arena sidewall. Turning away, in comes Shud. Don't get into that CPZ. The House Robots can come in. Corkscrew pressurised by Sir Killalot. How about that for a little turn away from danger? They nip between the two there. Dominator 2, down comes the axe. Well, it's cat and mouse, catch me if you can. Corkscrew off and away. Some might say this is just running away for safety. Others might say it's a tactical ruse, a ploy. Press the pit release button and try and get Dominator 2 down into that pit. Certainly Dominator is the heavier, the more cumbersome, the more thoughtful, but the more potent Corkscrew on its side. And I don't think they'll be able to right themselves. They needed the spinning weapon to act as a Shremek to get themselves up again. It's obviously not working. And Dominator 2 will reach the series semi-final. Oh, well, they battled bravely, haven't they? Lewis H12, Lawrence 11, Dad John, an engineer by trade. And this has been a plucky display by the Scottish team from Selkirk. Well done to them. Congratulations to Dominator 2. Experience counting in the end. Ooh, that looks painful. That Corkscrew will open no more bottles of vintage wine in celebration. Perhaps a drop of the hard stuff needed for John Heatley in commiseration tonight, but the bubbly belongs to Dominator 2. A rueful look and a sad ending for a very competitive and worthy team. newcomers to Robot Wars, and haven't they put up a good display? In the end, righted after the fly through the air. But back to the highlands and lowlands, back over Hadrian's Wall for Corkscrew. And the Anglos from Huntingdon in Cambridgeshire, Dominator 2, are through to the series semi-finals. They're on fire now. Perhaps there's a wee dram of the hard stuff somewhere underneath that kilt. I don't know. I've never looked up a Scotsman's kilt, never felt the need to. But something in there is on fire. And in goes the ref bot with the extinguisher. Out they go. A pat of the head.
Roboteers, stand by.
Dominator 2, Peter, Paul and Chris there in the control pod, and the wheelie big cheese boys, Roger Plant, John and Murray with him. In the arena for the house robots, Shunt first up with the diamond edge axe and the scoop. And battling for the house robots too, Dead Metal, the weapons synergy is key.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
A formidable flipper here on Wheelie Big Cheese. Already in this series, it has tossed two machines out of the arena completely. Dominator 2 has the heavy axe, but doesn't want to get involved with Wheelie Big Cheese flipper, and there goes the pit release button activated by Wheelie Big Cheese. Up on its side, Dominator 2 trying to get in underneath Wheelie Big Cheese. They turn together, and there's the flip from Dominator 2. That must have sailed 8 feet into the air and then down. Wheelie Big Cheese has this phenomenal power this time around. It has already tossed one machine out from halfway across the arena. In the earlier heat, out went Wolverine, out went Axor, and that's the power again on Dominator 2. And what damage has been caused there to Dominator 2's electronics within as they come shuddering down. All hail Dominator 2. Well, it's got some work to do here against the Wheelie Big Cheese machine, defeated by Tornado in the semi-finals of Robot Wars 4, beaten in the heats by Chaos 2 in Robot Wars 3. And so determined here, Roger Plant, to go all the way. Dominator 2 digs its axe down to gain some leverage, acting as a stream-mech, and now comes on the attack. They've got to get some damage in on that Wheelie Big Cheese flipper and stop it operating. Otherwise, you get the sense that Roger Plant is going to line up a broadside attack and come in and flip Dominator once again. That's better driving there from Peter at the controls of Dominator 2, so that Wheelie Big Cheese can't get in underneath its side, its flanks, if you get my drift. Now, Dominator 2 spins away, thought about an attack on Wheelie Big Cheese, which momentarily has stopped. What has happened to Wheelie Big Cheese? It has stopped. Something has gone wrong. That's not moving. Dominator 2 was nudging it. Wheelie Big Cheese has, well, in scientific terms, conked out. Roger Plant, what has happened to your machine? I saw it early on in the series, and I thought this was the one that was going to go all the way because of its formidable, frenzied flipping power. But it has 2 seconds remaining in Robot Wars. Wheelie Big Cheese has gone out. Grated, shredded. And in comes the circular saw there of Dead Metal. Heat generated, sparks flew. You are Welsh Rarebit.
Roboteers, stand by.
He was in the arena with the ref bot for the house robots. Let's tell you, Sir Killalot, almost invincible, I think he is. Sergeant Bash has a fault. Fuel sometimes runs out in the flamethrower.
3, 2, 1.
Dominator 2, quick away on the right-hand side then. Trying to buff it, Hypnodisc up onto its side. We've seen that tactic work in the past. Hypnodisc with the tiny wheels, the 10-mile-an-hour top speeds and the sparks flying from the impact of that shredding disc. Down comes the weight, 12 kilos of force behind that Dominator 2 pneumatic axe, but again, the whole machine was buffeted and now torn by Hypnodisc. It's ripped the sides of Dominator 2. It's got through the armour, and Hypnodisc on top here now. What can Dominator 2 do to come back into it? Beat Derek and King B and Corkscrew earlier on in the competition. We've seen it beat Wheelie Big Cheese as well. Had its fortune, perhaps, when Wheelie Big Cheese conked out. There, Peter Halloway at the controls of Dominator 2 needs to come up with something, because Hypnodisc, for me, is on top. Reached the grand final in Series 4. Pussycat stopped them. Dominator 2 beaten in the semi-finals in Series 4 by Pussycat. Why aren't they going in for the kill here, Hypnodisc? Why are they standing off? Is there something wrong with the forward drive? High rev sounding. I don't think there's anything wrong with the motors. There's the damage on Dominator 2. Do you know what I think's happening here? Hypnodisc think they've won it, and they don't want to sustain any damage. So they're staying out of harm's reach from Dominator 2. Tactics are being brought into play here. Well, it's not spectacular, but it is cagey. Canny by the Hypnodisc boys. The Rose family, you're not blooming, but you have presented a thorny problem for Dominator 2, which doesn't seem to be able to come back into this fight. Maybe Dominator is lacking some sort of forward power as the clock ticks down to a judge's decision, which I think inevitably will give it to the Roses and Hypnodisc. We'll wait to see. I don't like it.
Very cagey fight, if you could call it a fight. We're going to have to go to the judges on that one. They'll be looking at style, control, damage. There wasn't much aggression. While they're making up their minds, let's look at those highlights.
Thing is, it was settled early on, wasn't it? The aggression was by Hypnodisc early in the fight, and once they gouged the side of Dominator 2, they've clearly thought they've won it there and stood off. Highlights from now on in were rare. For me, it has to be Hypnodisc in the cagey, canny war of attrition.
Well, the judges have made their decision, and they do want me to pass on their opinion that it was the most boring fight in the history of Robot Wars. And the audience, as you can hear, agree with me. But based on the 4 criteria, they've gone for Hypnodisc!
From Deal in Kent, the number 6 seed, Dominator 2.
Twice series semi-finalists.
Excuse the team, excuse us, Dominator 2.
You have completely rebuilt it.
We have. It's stronger, better and tougher than ever before.
Why? What have you done?
Basically, the titanium that's on the shell now is made of the same grade as used on Russian nuclear submarines. We were going to say it's got built-in satellite navigation, but the batteries went flat on that. But the rest of it is much, much more powerful.
What about your weapon?
The weapon, we've increased the gas size, increased the flow on the gas, bigger regulator, a lot faster, a lot more power than last year.
And it's very pretty.
Has a 12mm polycarb base, 3.2mm titanium armour, nothing faster in the heat, has a powerful axe and effective streamlet, but the target needs to be in front of the axe for it to be effective.
From East Hagbourne in Oxfordshire, Hydra.
Father and son team knocked out in the heats last time around.
Here's a flipper, and here's an axe. He's completely rebuilt the robot. How much power have you got on that axe?
There's about 700 pounds thrust on the ram. Lever it against 4 to 1, so it's quite a lot. 2 kilogram axe head.
So here's who you're going to be using it on. Something.
Yes.
Accident.
Yes.
And Dominator.
Yes. I'll be a bit wary of Dominator, obviously. They've got a very powerful axe, but I think if we can get in on the side of them, you know, we can stand a good chance of flipping them.
Okay.
4-wheel driven with a pneumatic flipper and sledgehammer, built for agility and attack, lightly armoured, that could be a weakness, and 13-year-old Andrew isn't the most experienced driver.
From Gislingham in Suffolk, Axe. Accident 2.
It's all in the name. That axe is mighty.
Who are you most worried about?
Dominator, definitely.
Dominator, yeah, they're the seeds.
Apart from that, not really worried.
Well, I am, because look, this does not look very thick to me, and these are super exposed. Hydra's got that axe, could get through those in no time.
If you can get close enough to me.
Two-wheel drive, domed with a horizontal mounted, rotating 14 kilos axe, spinning at 1,000 RPM and capable of slicing through 4mm aluminium, but there's no Streamek.
From Leicester, in Leicestershire, something.
Ah, he's back with his team. Dig! Call me Mr. Dig!
What's going on here, then?
Well, we're charging our batteries.
Yeah.
For the limited amount of electrical bits we've got in there.
Yeah.
We started in Wars 3. And when we entered Wars 3, we were low-tech then. We are positively archaic now. If you look around you, they're just like, they're so technological.
What he's saying is they're going out in the first round.
Low-tech, a brainless brawler on the limits of control, an archaic reminder of the industrial age. Their description, not mine.
Roboteers, stand by.
Let's have a look at the teams. Accident 2, there's Mel Easton. Hydra with Dennis and Andrew Ledbetter. There's something, Mr. Dig's team on the left, and Dominator 2 on the right-hand side. And in the arena for the house robots, Growler, heavy, very quick. And there alongside him, Shunt with the bulldozer blade and the axe at the back there.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Dominator 2, the number 6 seeds, and certainly favourites here, and on the attack straight away. But there, Hydra, flicking Accident up into the air. It has no Streamek, remember, and I think Accident has been immobilised right from the start, and poor old Mel Easton probably thinks so too, because he can't right. He'll need a nudge from someone very quickly. Something right in the middle of your picture is very unpredictable. There we're seeing young Andrew Ledbetter, 13-year-old, loves his fishing, at the controls of Hydra. Oh, there's the back of Mr. Dig. Don't call them eco-warriors, they say. We'll just call them scruffy warriors. There in the middle once again is something, their machine, and as we thought, Accident is about to be counted out. But it looked good. The axe was strong, but no Streamek. No, you can't come into the arena without one of those. And we say goodbye from Competition for Accident, and we're about to say goodbye to something, and it gets into trouble in there with the house robots. Poor old Mel says cheerio to Competition. Something still in the CPZ. In comes Shunt with the axe right into the middle there of the Something team from Leicestershire, dragging it about. Has an internal combustion engine on board there. We're seeing Dominator 2 thrust aside as well by Hydra. Good driving by young Andrew. Pushing and shoving with a 99 kilos weight Hydra. Growler awaits. Destruction on Accident 2. Accident already counted out. Don't forget, 2 robots go through to tonight's second round. So in other words, it's 2 from the remaining 3 mobilised robots. I've been impressed with Hydra. Something still in there fighting. Dominator hasn't dominated as we thought that team would. Being number 6 seeds. Hydra in and flicking Accident up and over. Something's little pickaxe still going. Now Dominator finally gets its mighty hydraulic axe working as Growler looks on. But Dominator's attack was on a beaten robot in Accident. And Something and Hydra beginning to team up on Dominator 2. And the judges would have taken note. Should this go to a judge's decision, they will mark on style, control, damage and aggression. There on the floor flipper. Oh, that's a great height from the floor flipper. Accident in pieces. Great height this. It's lifting 100 kilos, don't forget. Bits and pieces strewn all over the arena floor. And we love it. And Something is not fully mobile. And now that's a shame. For Mr. Dig, Jeff Germany, and Paul Bacon, the self-styled king of shame, because Something's about to be counted out. Quite a war going on between Hydra and Dominator 2, meanwhile. Something's been counted out. The pit release button has been activated. It's too late for it to turn round. It wasn't fully mobile. You could see that. It was just going around in a circle. So we know then that Hydra and Dominator 2 will be going through. Ooh, Growler comes out for a nibble. Something is dragged away. Got hold of one of those spherical wheels. And something goes down into the pit. Once again, beaten in the heats in Robot Wars. Also there, Accident 2 finally. Cease. Oh, Mr. D, do your hair. Oh, Mel, well, perhaps not. Well done to the others. They're through.
Roboteers, stand by.
In the arena for the house robots, we have Growler and Sergeant Bash.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Dominator 2, the seeds, don't forget, number 6 seeds. Smidsy have twice reached heat finals, but have been beaten on both occasions. But they are pushing Dominator 2. Over the flame pit. Down comes Dominator's axe. I would say it is the more fearful weapon here, and it's got straight through there onto one of the tyres. Well, a lucky escape for Smidsy, I felt. I don't think the Dominator 2 team pressed home its advantage then. Could they have dragged Smidsy across the arena floor? Or did they not trust their own pulling power? Smidsy slamming Dominator 2 into the side wall. And for me, at this moment in time, Smidsy would be on top. Just seen the Dominator 2 team in there. Smidsy in underneath Dominator 2 again. This is a splendid drive by Smidsy. Onto the angle grinder there. You can see the sparks flicking away. Oh, Dominator 2, though, using the centrifugal force of that floor spinner to good effect. Get a little bit of speed up for the attack on Smidsy. Don't know what damage it caused, and Dominator 2 under attack once again, and perilously close to Growler and the CPZ. Look at those mighty jaws of Growler. Has to go back into its kennel, so to speak. And now Dominator 2 gets that axe to work. The target needs to be in front of Dominator 2 for that axe to have any effect. Smidsy in flames! Away from the flame pit. Again, Dominator 2 gets that axe in, but it was a little tentative nudge, wasn't it? Didn't want to hold on to Smidsy. Letting Smidsy get away once again. Very close, this one, the Dominator 2 boys. Just see there, Chris Hall, electronics engineer by trade at the control. Dominator 2's axe comes down on Smidsy. Maybe the tactic, enough blows they think will render the electronics of Smidsy immobile, I don't know. But certainly now Dominator 2 is beginning to work up a head of steam. And it's pushed Smidsy into that CPZ. Oh, Growler! Look at that. Both went into the CPZ and Growler came in with a right, raw, ripping shunt. And Smidsy now needs to get out and get out very quickly. And it's lacking power, you can see that. Look at this. He used a skid steer system, Growler. That's why it's so quick across the arena. Bam! And Smidsy's taken the worst of that. And I think this second round has been turned on its head. I think that damage sustained by Smidsy has cut its power and pace, and Dominator 2 can now grapple. And the whole thing's changed for me. Smidsy is in trouble. And they were well on top. They backed onto the flame pit. You can see only one side seems to be working. They're on fire at the end. It'll go to the judges.
Good fight. What a fight, too close to call. We're going to have to go to the judges while they make up their esteemed minds. Let's see the highlights.
Craig, no doubt for me. Smidsy on top early on. In underneath Dominator, worrying, nagging, stylish and aggressive, causing damage. Down came the Dominator axe, but not with any great effect. But that's where it all turned. Into the CPZ. Good driving by Dominator 2, driving Smidsy in there. And from there on, for me, Dominator was on top.
The judges have made their decision. Style, control, damage and aggression, that's what they were looking at. And they've gone for Dominator 2!
Roboteers, stand by.
in the arena for the house robots, Sir Kill-A-Lot. Look at those pincers. And shunt to bulldoze and chop.
3, 2, 1.
I think Hydra has to get Dominator 2 into a CPZ, lifted up and let the house robots play. Dominator 2's mighty axe comes down, but as Matt was saying, it has a poor hit-and-miss ratio. Hydra have overturned Dominator 2, exposing that polycarb base, which we heard split in the last fight. Dominator 2 self-righting very, very quickly. And mean and moody with the axe, gunning for revenge. That was a great attack, though, by Hydra. I've been impressed with 13-year-old Andrew and Dennis. They've combined very, very well as a team. And they could spring a mighty surprise here. Dominator 2 looked cagey, didn't it? Don't hit the arena floor, there's no point, Dominator boys. Again, Hydra's flipped them up. Dominator 2, can they self-right? Yes, they can, and very quickly and very stylishly too. Down comes the Dominator 2 axe. So it's grappled Hydra, but what are they going to do now? Because it's certainly, for me, fought shy of pulling Smidsy into a pit in the previous battle. And again, it's let Hydra go. The judges will mark against there. Dominator 2's axe blows. There it sticks. Hydra away. Back for another attack. Dominator 2. Great rhythm with the axe, but what damage is it causing the Hydra team? Is it superficial, or are they puncturing and getting through to the very heart of the matter? The Dominator 2 team there, Chris Paul Elliott. Hydra on the arena side walls. Needs to get away, and I'll tell you something, Hydra all of a sudden does look a little battle-weary. Trying once again to get the pneumatic flipper in underneath Dominator 2. But there is a spring in the step of Dominator 2 now, or is that just my imagination? And they are puncturing Hydra. Look at the holes in Hydra, that must be causing damage. And Hydra is a wearied bot out there at this moment in time. Once again, the Dominator 2 team, we've seen them very experienced. Through to the series semi-final in Robot Wars, the 5th Wars and the 4th Wars. Good robots have beaten them in the past. It's taken a good robot, like Hypnodisc, like Pussycat. And Hydra up against it now. You just sort of sense that it had turned when Hydra came out of that attack moments ago and looked sluggish for the first time in this entire heat. It is slowed, I would say. The control response has been diminished. The weaponry looks less effective. Dominator 2 are well on top now. There is a gleam in their eyes. They know it. Hydra, can we get a grip? I don't think so. It's down to its last breath. Hydra, Sir Kill-A-Lot awaits. Well, what a good attempt by Hydra, but Dominator 2 has it for me. Splendid heat final.
What a fantastic battle. It's going to have to go to the judges while they're making up their minds. Let's see the highlights.
Craig, it'll be interesting to see where it turned, because Hydra here turned Dominator 2 over, exposing the suspect underbelly. Another good attack. They were on top at this stage, no doubt. But I think it was this systematic axing that caused the damage. And from now on, it was Dominator 2 for me. But what do I know?
The judges have made the decision based on style, control, damage, and aggression. And they've gone for Dominator 2!
Roboteers, stand by.
Bigger brother team. Ian Watts, son Joe, daughter Ellie. Crowd love them. Dominator 2. Chris Hall on the right-hand side there at the controls. Paul Tolliday and Peter Halloway with him. In the arena for the house robots, Sergeant Bash and Sir Kill-A-Lot.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
A classic axe meets flipper tail. Will it be a romantic ending? Down comes the axe of Dominator 2. Bigger Brother's armoury in the front is weaker than in previous series, but stronger around the back. And that flipper is so effective, and Dominator 2 is on its side. Now it can only effectively self-right if it uses the axe or gets a nudge from a helping friend. Bigger Brother turns friend. Dominator 2 becomes foe instantly, driving Bigger Brother into the CPZ, the corner patrol zone, bossed by the house robot. Bigger Brother back on the offensive. This is a very good battle developing here. Very even. Bigger Brother can't get the flipper in. Offensively, down comes the axe, but missing. Of Dominator 2, the judges will have taken note. There the flipper works of Bigger Brother. At the controls, Ian Watt's driving, but Little Joe controls the flipper. He's 9, he loves his Harry Potter, he loves his computer games. He loves his Robot Wars. And there, Peter, Paul, and Chris Hall at the controls of Dominator 2. Down comes the axe, onto the front lifter, the flipper of Bigger Brother, powered by CO2. Now we know that CO2 powered flippers have a shelf life. They can't go on throughout a battle or a heat, and Bigger Brother is in trouble from Sir Killalot. The rep bot looks on. Bigger Brother was absolutely awesome in its heat. Heat L, it beat Disco Inferno, the very last heat to make this the series semi-final. And Bigger Brother, for me, this will be an upset. I thought they beat Dominator 2, I must admit, but they've turned turtle. They'll self-right very quickly, so there is still enough CO2 in there. Ian Watt's driving, a lecturer by trade. I'll tell you what, this has been a lesson he's learned from Dominator 2, and Bigger Brother is teetering on the edge of another CPZ, and the crumpling Sir Killalot comes out and tries to drive up and over Ellie Watt's Bigger Brother. Oh, goodness me, they know they're in trouble. Dominator 2, for me, has gone through. Well, they think so too. Oh dear.
Did you like that fight? Did you like that fight? A right Royal Rumble that. Far too close to call. Gonna have to go to the judges while they're making up their minds. Let's see the highlights.
For the fight, either gone Bigger Brother. Down came the axe of Dominator 2, and they were aggressive all the way through. Not too much damage caused. Style from Bigger Brother will have counted in its favour, and over went Dominator 2. So this was a good spell for Bigger Brother. But Dominator 2 forced their way on top with persistence, good aggression, and Bigger Brother got themselves trapped. And from then on, it was Dominator's fight for me. And you can see it written all over the Bigger Brother team faces there. They knew their machine was in peril.
The judges have made their decision based on style, control, damage, and aggression. Quite controversial, this. They've gone for Dominator 2!
How are you? Roboteers, stand by.
In the arena for the house robots is Growler, Mr. Psycho's pet, and
3,
Matilda.
2,
Pets was all,
1.
I like to think.
Activate.
And away we go. This for a place in the grand final. It's as simple as that. Axe against the push and shove of Tornado. Dominator 2 slams down that mighty axe. Tornado 2, look at it though, already. What great pushing power that little 98 kilos machine seems to have. Little it's Lionhearted. Tornado away once again. Reached the series semi-final of Robot Wars, the 4th Wars, and lost to Chaos 2. The pit release button is activated. Which of these machines has a short shelf life left in Robot Wars? Dominator 2 is on the end of a Tornado push. Matilda awaits. Dominator 2 is teaching. Oh, goodness me, I thought Tornado was going to go straight down the pit, but Dominator 2 ends up in there instead. Oh dear. They look absolutely shattered, and why not? I thought here Tornado's going to go straight down. They landed right on the edge, and Dominator 2 drove themselves in. Fantastic stuff. The sparks flew. They bounced just on the right side of the pit, but Dominator 2 didn't.
Dominator 2.
3 times UK Championship semi-finalists.
Is it true, the rumour, that your chopper's bigger than it was before?
It is.
That's some axe.
Oh, but it's just awesome. There's probably 1.5 tons of pressure on the tip. Loads of titanium, 6.5 mil at the front and back. Nothing's going to go
ward off
through.
Hypnodisc, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
Fast at 20 miles an hour, a 12mm polycarb base. The titanium armour is thicker. The axe has been sharpened, but can only hit targets immediately in front of them.
From Banbury in Oxfordshire, Hypnodisc.
Their motto, spin to win, has twice got them through to the UK Grand Finals.
The robot that went down in history books as one of the most original, if not the most original, we've ever seen. And I'm slightly worried that in the evolution of Robot Wars, you're going to slip behind, because you've only done one adjustment this time.
Well, we've actually done 2, but the first adjustment was to move the disc drive motor underneath the disc.
Yeah, what difference is that going to make?
Hopefully improve the reliability of driving the disc.
Now, that's what we want from Hypnodisc. What was the other improvement?
Derek's had a haircut.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, nice.
A massively destructive weapon weighing 20 kilos and running at 900 RPM, 10mm aluminium checker plate chassis, and the disc cover is hardened and thicker than before.
From East Tilbury in Essex, Spawn Again.
4 times UK Championship semi-finalists.
Are you any more powerful than we've seen you before?
Yeah, there's quite a few changes. The weapon system's got an all-new firing mechanism, it's a powered return, and a whole new drive system,
So we thought you were good before. What are you now?
Well, we just brought it up to the 21st centuries, but we won't find out how good it is until we try it, so...
No, so we'll leave now, shall we?
Thanks.
4-wheel driven, steel-bodied, has a 1,000 PSI CO2 giant flipper with a self-riding capability, although glitches in the system could cause it to flip itself.
Roboteers, stand by.
Let's have a look at the teams. Dominator 2, Peter Halloway, Elliot Smart and Paul Tolliday. And together in that booth, Hypnodisc, the Rose Twins and Dad Ken, and Spawn Again, Darren Hayden-Ball and Luke Chapman. And in the arena for you, we have the Sergeant. Attention for the flamethrower, please. And straining at the leash, Growler.
3, 2, 1.
Don't forget, 2 robots will survive this melee to go through to the All-Stars Heat 2 second round. Oh, Hypnodisc up and over from Spawn Again's flipper, but retreating to come again. Dominator 2 goes after the Hypnodisc blade with the mighty sharpened weaponry. Remember, I told you can only attack using that weapon if an opponent is directly in front of them. And you see Hypnodisc was quick to get out of the way there of the Dominator 2 machine. At the controls, Peter Halloway. A side-on slam. Dominator 2 against the Arena Cyborg comes back-to-back with Hypnodisc. We're not seeing great destructive force unleashed. Well, the blade has done nothing to Hypnodisc's spinning weapon. Just glanced off it. Nothing at all. So we know that Hypnodisc can survive against Dominator 2 unless it's flipped, maybe. Like that. Toppling, but down and okay. Dominator certainly seems to want to take on Hypnodisc. Spawn Again, wisely keeping out of trouble thus far, having the odd flip or 2. Hypnodisc in the middle. Can they get their weaponry spinning up to full velocity? Because that is key to me. It doesn't seem to be working at full strength. The blade has stopped. Hypnodisc in trouble again. When the blade isn't at 100%, we know Hypnodisc is very vulnerable. We've seen that in the past. They've stopped. Dominator 2 fighting it out with Spawn Again. Well, the Rose boys look very, very worried. Dave and Derek. both engineers by trade. The ref has to look. Hypnodisc is over now. They're in great peril. I don't think they'll be able to self-right. They're being counted out. The axe of Dominator 2 isn't making great purchase, to be honest. That'll be a worry for later on in the competition. For the Dominator team, Hypnodisc, they're out. They've gone. No longer in this competition, then, to be considered an all-star. Growler has them in its jaws. With the skid-steer system very quick across the arena floor. Oh. How about that for a push? Down the pit, the Hypnodisc. If he lets go, dog with a bone and all that. Hypnodisc KO, disappointingly so.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's Matilda in the CPZ of the arena for the House Robots. And Dead Metal, serrated saw in there too.
3, 2, 1.
Record gives us green for go. 13 blacks. Rushing roulette, I described it earlier, up to 20 miles an hour, but bashed into by Dominator 2. I just worry about the actual effects of that axe. It looks rather grand, doesn't it? But 13 black, unlucky for some, has dodged away from it. Oh! And gone straight into the CPZ and very nearly crashed into the spinning flywheel of Matilda, which glances into Dominator 2, turns it on its side, and now Matilda can come out to play. Not great driving initially by 13 black, but Dominator 2 followed through into there and got caught. They're righted now, they can back away and come onto the onslaught. But they need to eradicate mistakes like that if they go through to meet Razor. 13 black. Oh! As well, I was going to say to press the pit release button, they destroyed it. Dominator 2's axe has got a grip on one of the roulette wheels. Is holding on. Can they edge it slowly towards the pit? 13 black trying to drive. Away, no. Heave, ho, to and fro. 13 black holding on. Dominator 2 pushes. Oh, so now Dominator nearly backed in. 13 black, look at this. This is great stuff. Oh, can they do it this time? It's the immovable against the irresistible. 13 black still fighting away. Dominator 2 nearly turned tortuously towards the pit once again. Don't go left, boys. Move away from the pit. 13 black on the attack. Matilda there waiting. Who's going to repair that? I'm not too sure if you've got it in the budget. And Dominator 2, what is this love affair with the pit? Not even the 13 black team can understand Dominator 2's tactics here. Oh, 13 black! Well, they obviously don't want to go through and meet Razor, either of these two. This is tremendous stuff. It's going to go to the judges. Well, they live dangerously.
Did you like that ball? Did you like that ball? What a right ding-dong. Too close a call. We're going to have to go to the judges while they're making up their considerable minds. Let's see the highlights.
Oh, did I see some shaking heads in the judges' pit there? I don't think they can quite believe what happened. Good attack by Dominator, but then flicked by Matilda as they went too close to comfort. They righted themselves with a little bit of help from 13 black. Not great style from 13 black, nor there from Dominator, nor there from 13 black. Goodness me, they skirted that pit. Will the judges mark them down for that? What a battle it was. Stalemate in the end.
Well, the judges have made the decision. Now, you know what they're looking at. Style, control, damage and aggression. It was a right ding-dong battle. But they've gone for 13 black!